The moment the video went viral on social media, everything changed. Timelines stopped, music comment sections exploded, and fans who thought they had witnessed every chapter of the Love and Hip Hop drama music suddenly understood this story might not be ended. Two names that shouldn't have came together in this manner. One fuzzy video, music, and a supposed overnight link. Music Mendeecees, Erica Mena and Harris. Nobody is asserting that music took place. No one is confirming anything, and the speculations are getting louder by the hour. The internet is doing what it does best, which is to convert rumors into a full-fledged storm. Fans are astounded by music, not because of what is on exhibit, but rather because of what they perceive, suggests, and claimed night, an alleged connect to a tale that appears too chaotic, too dramatic, and too precisely timed to be ignored. Erica Music Mena, who is already under intense scrutiny because of her arrests, public outcry, and frequent media attention, is now at the center of another viral incident. When a purported night spend video goes viral, the drama may fade and people on social media begin drawing connections between things that music might not even belong together. Was it merely a coincidence? Was it trying to gain influence? Or did things go out of hand at this point? Next are Mendeecees. The name Harris is linked to strife, allegiance, and a complicated past. Fans didn't expect his name to be mentioned in music conversations of this kind, much less to be associated with Erica in a way that immediately sparked blogs. Quickly, music was filled with reactions, curiosity, disbelief, wrath, and a single music query that reverberates throughout. In reality, what is going on in the background? Emotions. Fans of ran high a hurry to defend song they adore, while critics refine their opinions. This song, according to others, is just another example of how quickly whispers become news stories. Some claim that there is more music to the story that hasn't been revealed yet. Families don't say anything. Friends give odd signals, and spectators feel as though they are seeing the first scene of a story that may turn much darker. Because when alleged videos go viral and names are confused, the truth is often the first casualty. And this time, the internet isn't letting go of music. At the beginning of the story, there was no confirmation or validation. At first, there was a buzz. It begins softly, grows louder, and finally becomes inevitable. On blogs, music, vague captions were posted. Fan pages seemed to be hinting at an impending event. And then timelines were suddenly flooded with the same question in a different form. What had really happened that night? It was enough to make a show out of music conjecture, since everyone was expressing views but no one was claiming facts. Erica Mena was already being watched all the time. All of her posts, videos, and her captions were examined in a matter of minutes. Some of her admirers felt protective of her and said she had suffered enough and deserved peace. Others believed that her recent behavior demonstrated music chaos and unresolved anger. As a result, when a brief video purporting to show her late at night with Mendeecees Harris began circulating, people were prepared to make assumptions. The film didn't prove anything. Rather, it fit the narrative that people were already music anticipating. The clip blew viral because of something that might not have been visible at all, rather than something that was. Fuzzy video, muted audio, and shadows instead of faces. Social media investigators slowed it down, zoomed on, matched clothes from earlier posts, and connected music timestamps from unrelated stories. All of a sudden, timelines were music being made. Fans are shocked, not because they believe the music tape, but rather because of how quickly belief can arise when drama and curiosity intersect. Commentators quickly clarified that nothing had been confirmed. Music words like rumored, reportedly, and supposedly dominated the conversations. But such comments didn't really put out the fire. Music, once the idea of an overnight link was made public, it took on a life of its own. Reaction music channels joined the battle, some leaning music into the mystery while others warned viewers to approach with caution. Both sides' supporters got into furious disputes and accused each other of bias and blind loyalty. Erica thought that this time was heavier music than previous rumors. Her close acquaintances hinted on the internet that she was tired of being misunderstood. Posts about being assessed without music being aware of the full context emerged. While some fans see the messages as a sign of guilt, others see them as music of frustration with false narratives. Either way, the silence just served to fuel speculation. Music, it seemed as though the internet was adding an unexplained new twist every hour. Mendeecees Harris became an unexpected focal music point. When his name appeared next to Erica's, even seasoned viewers were taken aback. Those who knew his artistic history questioned why he would be associated with such allegations in the first place. Some argued that participation is not the same as association, reminding music that intimacy is not the same as closeness. but the damage brought about by suggestion has already been done. Once a name enters the rumor cycle, it is nearly impossible to get it out. Unintentionally adding friends and associates to the music tension, an early removal of a story, a like on a post here, an unfollow there. Fans perceived every digital move as a music clue. Others claim that the so-called night spend narrative is being exaggerated for hits. Others felt that the timing music was too strange to rule out. The remarks spoken in public did not split the family. Rather, it was the silence that followed. Dialogue from reaction videos echoed across a range of media. One speaker music said, "This is exactly how rumors ruin reputations. If it was nothing, why not shut it down immediately?" said another in retaliation. These conflicting opinions kept bouncing off one another, creating a vicious cycle where no answer felt sufficient. Music past disputes were brought up once more, not as evidence but as context that people music utilized to bolster their assumptions. While others argue that silence music lets others control the story, fans were left to read in between music. Sources claimed that although everyone was aware of the talk behind the scenes, they decided not to confront it. Lines that might not have existed, captions were altered, images from unrelated events were repurposed, and suddenly music, a casual discussion from weeks before, was presented as foreshadowing. The way music interacted with Erika's recent public persona, critics stated that her emotional openness music made her an easy target, made this moment particularly dramatic. Instead of being literal, the overnight angle became symbolic, with music representing judgment, control, and the way women's private lives are examined more closely than men's. Vulnerability shouldn't be penalized, supporters retorted. Music. The rumor continued while hours stretched into days. Instead, as new accounts reposted the video and added their own interpretations, it evolved over time. While some music said the original video was being taken out of context, others claimed there was more material. The conversation kept growing, but no solid proof was discovered. Music. It was no longer about a single night, but rather about perception, trust, and how quickly public opinion can shift. By the time it became apparent that nothing firm had been established, many fans had already taken sides, and some were embarrassed by their snap judgments. OK Music. Amidst all of this, Erika's name continued to trend. Music linked to a tale that might never have been more than a rumor magnified by tension and time. The story continued to advance due to momentum rather than facts. Others doubled down because they thought there had to be fire where there was smoke. The discussion shifted when individuals started questioning why this rumor felt music different from the many others that come and go. Speculation usually burns swiftly music and fades equally quickly, but this one persisted, and many attributed it to time. In a world driven by clicks and emotions, momentum seldom slows down on its own once it gains traction. Erika Mena was already in a hazardous public position, and Mendeecees Harris was a name with weight, music history, and allegiance in the world of reality TV. Fans were unable to resist the music. Attention that resulted from the collision of the two narratives, and the number of reaction videos rapidly rose. Some producers decided to explain music the impact of rumors themselves, reminding viewers that no one had verified anything and that music's supposed footage can be deceiving, while others slowed down the purported tape, frame by frame, music narrating what they felt they saw. The comments, however, painted a different picture. Music. The fans' wrath was heightened by the sudden reappearance of old interviews, music, and scenes from earlier seasons. When people retrieved tapes where Erika discussed music treachery, trust, and unfair judgment via a fresh perspective on music, the internet thrives on music patterns, even made-up ones. Some claimed it was impossible to miss the irony, while others thought it was wrong to alter someone's history based on an unverified rumor. Mendeecees turned towards the storm's comm center. There were other interpretations of his music, lack of public reaction. Critics said his quiet suggested avoidance, while supporters said it showed maturity and a refusal to engage in gossip. Both sides talked with conviction despite the lack of evidence, and that conviction spread swiftly. Music, turning opinions into assumed truths. It was a reminder of how quickly speculation, if unchecked, may turn into belief. Music. Unchecked. Fans immediately linked Erika's friends' vague words about devotion and betrayal, which did not include names to the rumor. Music. Some perceived the messages as defensive, while others thought they were strategic and meant to deflect attention. Every emoji was analyzed, every word understood. Even posts unrelated to the circumstance were incorporated into the story due to timing. In the comments sections, hypothetical conversations between the parties began to surface. Some penned what they believed Erika would say if she addressed the rumor, while others scripted what Mendeecees may say if he decided to use music to respond. Although none of it was true, it influenced expectations. Music fans speculated about how loved ones might be reacting behind closed doors. Would they be disappointed? As the family angle heightened the drama, those fictitious comments had already filled the music void by the time real ones were absent. The public's perception of the family was divided, not because of anything they said, but rather because projection is encouraged by silence. Music people frequently use their own assumptions to fill in the holes. Would they be enraged? Would they be giggling music at how ridiculous everything had gotten? Another twist emerged when several admirers asked where the video originated, who uploaded the music first, and why now. Some proposed that the video might have been produced or altered in a way that facilitated misinterpretation. Others rejected that music idea, arguing that the internet constantly seeks to discredit hard truths. Theories varied from intentional sabotage to clout chasing. Music. Again, there was no evidence, just opinion on top of opinion. Music. Weary of the cycle. Longtime viewers wrote that they missed the days when reality TV music drama stayed on screen instead of spilling into real life. Others argued that public figures invite scrutiny by sharing so much of themselves. Still others expressed frustration at how quickly people turned speculation music into condemnation. As the days passed, new accounts began using the rumor as content music bait, with thumbnails shouting exposure and betrayal and captions hinting at secrets about to be revealed. The topic of accountability and privacy replaced the alleged night music. Although most videos acknowledged that they were discussing reports and rumors, music. The language used blurred that line. Alleged became music implied. Speculation sounded like confirmation, and viewers who scroll quickly frequently ignored the disclaimers completely. Erika's music. Previous behavior continued to be brought up in the conversation as justification for belief, rather than as proof of wrongdoing. Nuance fought to survive in the emotional tug-of-war music that resulted from this back and forth. For better or worse, the overnight link rumor came to represent everything music people already felt about her. Supporters countered that growth is disregarded when people crave drama, while others claimed patterns matter. Mendeecees was music seen as both a victim and a villain, depending on who you asked. Some believed that his reputation shielded him from the scrutiny that Erika faced, while others said that his name was being unfairly music used to preserve a story. Added another level of discussion by having followers draw attention to the disparities in treatment between men and women in rumor cycles. Beneath all the fanfare, there was a simple reality that many seemed to overlook. Nothing had been verified. No music confirmation had surfaced, and no conclusive statement had addressed the matter. But the story went on, propelled more by responses than by facts, showing that news doesn't always require substance to grow, it just needs attention. As it spread across platforms, the alleged overnight story continued to evolve, taking on new forms. What started out as a clip turned into a rumor that was more than just speculation about what might or might not have happened. It was now a mirror reflecting how quickly audiences take sides, how quickly music speculation turns into judgment, and how silence can be louder than denial. The story developed on its own, propelled more by conflict and curiosity music than by confirmation. As the rumor spread, something intriguing began music to happen. The focus gradually shifted from the alleged night itself to motives. People were no longer just asking music what had happened. They were curious as to why this tale had begun. Was it a coincidence that the video surfaced at a time when Erika was already getting a lot of attention? Or was it just the insanity of internet recycling? Music plays, but some fans started pointing the finger at the blogs themselves, saying that some media music thrive on fuzziness, where alleged stories are presented in a way that seems convincing. Headline screenshots were distributed, illustrating how language could affect perception without ever making a clear assertion. Music, even when combined with caveats, words like caught, exposed, and leaked carried emotional weight. Fans are astounded not only by the rumor music, but also by the ease with which belief may be shaped by language. Erika's single statements as supporters grew louder at this point, reminding everyone that she had previously been involved in widely publicized confrontations and music that many earlier accounts turned out to be inaccurate or exaggerated. Emotions were running high as these supporters crowded comment music sections, blaming opponents of neglecting humanity and context. To them, music was more about public retribution than a supposed nighttime relationship. Critics on the opposite music side fiercely retaliated, saying that the current music rumor was simply another example of how she was being taken advantage of. One user summed it up by noting that people will always think the worst when music is ruined since image is currency. This claim was made repeatedly on several forums, virtually turning it into a debating slogan. Although they admitted that nothing had been verified, they maintained that the current music dispute does not originate from nowhere, and people who were close to her began to circulate once more, time-framed as emotional confrontations. People speculated music about private conversations full of tiredness and frustration. They imagined Erika saying she was tired of fighting shadows while friends urged her to step back or speak up. None of this was real, but it felt real to those involved. The line between speculation and storytelling became even more blurry. The name Mendeecees continued to be well known, but in a different way. Instead of being the center of attention, he became a benchmark, with admirers contrasting his quiet with the responses of others in similar situations. Music. While some praised his self-control, others claimed it was intentional detachment. Some claimed music that by staying out of the rumor, others were able to define it for him. Once more, silence was viewed by some as a strategy, and by others as an indication of apathy. When a new film with comparable material but a different venue began to circulate, things took a different route. This event showed how quickly false information may cling to pre-existing rumors. Once a story takes traction, even unrelated content can be drawn into its orbit. Fans incorrectly connected it to music, the same story. Before it was rectified, misunderstandings soon spread, but music, the damage was already done. Fans speculated about how children and family members would eventually come across these headlines, and family relations emerged as a subtle but powerful undercurrent. Some viewers felt uncomfortable with the length of the discussion and contended that long-term emotional impact shouldn't be sacrificed for amusement. The family was divided, even among fans. Industry insiders voiced their opinions without identifying themselves, and ambiguous comments about rumor economies, selective outrage, and clout culture surfaced music in interviews and podcasts. Others dismissed this concern, arguing that public life comes music with inevitable consequences, whether intentional or not. These remarks support the notion that the alleged overnight story was a part of a broader trend in entertainment media. Critics continued to examine Erika's social media activity, or lack thereof music, and accused her of deflection when she posted anything unrelated. Assuming that these comments' music were subtle allusions to the circumstances, listeners made the connection. Music supporters said that no response could ever satisfy those music committed to a tale, and they accused her of hiding when she didn't respond. No matter what choice she made, someone would always present it in a bad light, making this catch-22 a major topic of conversation. The emotional stakes rose when followers began discussing regret, not sadness, over an alleged night, but regret over choices made in public in the past. While some contended that transparency should never be penalized, others said that Erika's openness had welcomed relentless music criticism, struck a chord, especially with fans who viewed gossip and misinterpretation as mirrors of their own music experiences. People began speculating about Mendeecees' circle by examining who stood close to him at events, who showed up in group shots, and who did not. Absences were seen as declarations, and attendance as support.